Hey everybody, and welcome to On the Sidelines with Hagan and Hunter. I'm Seth Hagan.
I'm Hunter Price.
And we have finally entered the glorious realm of football season. So incredible. It's incredible, everybody. We're talking week 1 football. We're going to be talking a little bit of week 2 preview, a little bit of NFL, but mostly we're just trying to keep it simple. Keeping it simple. Week 1 college football. Make sure you hit the phone lines. Throw that number up there, Richard, 188-242-8517. We'll get you live in the studio right here with us. Give us your take on your week 1. How did your team do? Did they cover? Did they win? How are you feeling about it? I feel okay about my team's performance. A little on the downside, but things are also looking up in some areas. So we're gonna make it happen. But let's just start off with our first impressions of the weekend. What did you see? What stood out to you in the first weekend? Yeah.
In the first week, I saw a lot of teams that overlooked their opponents.
Yes, tons. A lot in the SEC. Mm-hmm. Dan.
Talking about Dan Mullen or our buddy Dan?
I don't know any other Dan that coaches Mississippi State. Dan.
That Dan?
Yes, that Dan.
Okay. What about Mark
Garbage.
Stoops? Kentucky.
I expected it from Mark Stoops. I expected that garbage.
How can you beat Kentucky? You're up 35-7 in the second quarter, and you let Southern Miss score 34 unanswered and beat you 44-35.
What are you doing? Like, I mean, that's 36 unanswered points. 34 unanswered. That's a lot of unanswered points, Mark. Weren't you like the defensive coordinator somewhere?
No,
maybe not.
I'll tell you what.
Maybe you weren't, because that was
awful. Southern Miss has got a real deal quarterback, boy from Spain Park.
Okay. I like Spain Park.
Should have gone to Auburn. Kid's probably going to be in the NFL someday.
Of course, because
we
know Auburn's quarterbacks aren't.
They're saying he's the best quarterback to come through Southern Miss since Brett Favre.
I mean, everybody's the best quarterback to come through Southern Miss since Brett Favre. I bet they say that to every single quarterback.
No,
you could be as good as Brett Favre.
No. This kid's the real deal.
That's what they say to every quarterback that comes through Houston. You know, Andre Ware was here.
This kid's the real deal.
You could be better than Andre Ware.
Southern Miss hasn't had a quarterback since Brett Favre scored 34 unanswered on an SEC team. I don't even think Brett.
That is true.
I don't even think
that is true.
I don't even think
he must be talented to some degree.
I don't think Brett did that.
You don't think so?
Brett did beat Auburn and Alabama, though.
What?
You know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, Brett took Southern Miss into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama and beat Auburn.
We should have known back in the day. Should have known Brett was the real deal. He stuck around a little bit too long, but that's neither here nor there. A little update for you guys. College football happening as we speak. Glad you guys could join us. But we're going to keep you updated. Ole Miss up 7-3 right now against Florida State. Florida State favored by as many as 4 or 5 points is what I've heard. So Ole Miss doing a good job holding down the fort for the SEC, who just had an abysmal weekend. We already mentioned Mississippi State and Kentucky's woes, but, I mean, it was really around the entire conference, whether it was Tennessee needing a fumble recovery in the end zone to win in overtime over App State, whether it was Arkansas only beating Louisiana Tech by 1, whether it was LSU actually getting upset by Wisconsin. Really? Number 5 team in the country?
Are they really, though? Why are we talking about the top 25 and then it's a preseason poll when we really have no clue who is in the top 25?
You're right. And for all the returning stars that Tennessee and LSU had, 34 combined didn't mean a thing.
Didn't mean a thing. Granted, App State is a lot.
Nothing.
App State is a lot better than people think.
Are they as good as Wisconsin? Probably.
They might be. USA Today.
I think they are.
USA Today did a top 100 poll instead of a top 25, and App State was ranked higher in Texas A&M and Arkansas.
Wow. They all for people who didn't know, App State also had 17 returning starters.
Yeah,
so they were not scared.
This was neither App State or Southern Miss or South Alabama. None of these teams were jokes.
No.
I mean, these were really good football teams. And watch out, LSU, because Jacksonville State's coming to town next week. And I bet you Joel McCandless and that defensive staff is going to have something to say to
Don't you get caught looking on Jacksonville State, man. It almost happened to Auburn. Like, it was that close. It was right there. Play no games, everybody. Just keep it down home, cuz. All right, Thursday night. Let's start with Thursday night's action. It was exciting. I found myself at the Vanderbilt South Carolina game. Vanderbilt came in ranked.
What was it like going to a Vanderbilt
unranked,
game?
but they were favored by a
I've never been
field
to
goal.
a Vanderbilt game.
It's about as exciting as you'd expect. I will say
Like,
that the South Carolina fans almost outnumbered the Vanderbilt fans.
Really?
Yes. But that's the way it always is. I hate it. It's awful, especially for a team that was supposed to be better. I really felt like they deserved more support from the fan base. And, I mean, tailgating there is a joke. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it, folks. I'm sorry. Vandy fans, I'm sorry. But you need to go see your team's games because this was supposed to be a really good team. Your defense held it down. Was up 10-0 at the half, but just could not get anything going on offense. And that's the name of the game. You've got to be able to score some points in the SEC. Something. You got to give me something. And to South Carolina's credit, Perry Orth came in and started nailing passes.
Let's move on with the SEC scores because everybody knows what we really want to talk about, and that's Auburn and Alabama.
True enough. True enough. All right, so let's speed through it. Obviously, Tennessee had big problems with Appalachian State. We've documented those. Stanford took it to Kansas State. Looks like we've got a call, so let's hit speakerphone on that.
Do it.
All right, you are live on the sidelines. Who are we talking with?
On other programs, I guess I'm known as East Coast Joe.
East Coast Joe. I like East Coast Joe. Well, Joe, who's your team, and how do you think they did?
Well, I mean, my team is Auburn. Having said that, I don't think I've seen anything so old since the last time I was in an ancient history course.
Yeesh.
As far as offense goes, that was right from the 1930s, I believe.
Yeah, it was the wing tee.
It was the wing tee, and you know how Brent Venables decided to play defense on it.
I heard about
He
that.
Googled it.
Apparently whipped to a website, right?
Oh, he Googled it.
He Googled the wing tee and learned how to play defense on it.
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Well, it's okay. I mean, honestly, when you look back and you look at the big picture, I think the spread was 8, and we came within 6.
Yeah, it was 7.5, 8. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so you beat the spread, playing the number 2 team in the nation. I realize, Hunter, that doesn't mean anything, and you're right. But it is what I know Bammer fans hate to hear, a moral victory for the Auburn Tigers. But that wasn't the only thing I wanted to talk to y'all about, because I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I grew up with Memorial Coliseum. That's being the home of the Vanderbilt basketball Commodores, seats about 16,000, all the way back into the late 50s, and having that sold out time and time again. And I don't know that there's that many fans that show up for football games in that little stadium that only seats 33,000.
It wasn't good.
My issue, I guess, is really with the SEC. I'm not certain why the SEC can't just demand that all stadiums have a minimum standard of, say, 55 to 60,000, and that they pledge to sell 80% of their home tickets. I don't know whether that's really a preposterous thing to recommend or to expect, but that should be easy for an SEC school.
Yeah,
I completely agree. And I mean, to be a Division I program, you have to have a 35,000 seat stadium.
At least, but I think the reason why Vanderbilt does it is because they are located in downtown Nashville. That makes it very difficult to kind of get real estate because it ain't cheap out there. So they would have to.
They can expand the stadium.
Do you think so?
They have a problem with parking.
I think it would be, just with the base that they have, I think it would be difficult for them to add on to that stadium.
I've never been there, but I know that Tennessee Titans have a stadium that's huge.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Why don't they play there?
Ugh, I mean, it would, it would look like some of these Olympic events. I mean, you'd see nobody there. I mean, can you imagine? And then the field people, the Tennessee Titan field people, they would not stand for that either. Yeah. So it would be very difficult. But I do agree with you, caller. It is a little difficult. What do you think of the Auburn quarterback situation? Because we know that the defense now is potentially a top 10 group, and that's something that you may not have to worry about as much. So it really just comes down to the offense. And I would like to know also, do you blame most of it on Malzahn's play calling or the actual execution of the play calls?
Well, I mean, this is a novel thing. I don't think we've ever seen not just three quarterbacks being used, but being used on the very same play. So this is new ground. Of course, if it had been executed properly and it worked, Gus would have been hailed as a genius. So he took that chance. It was a very unorthodox thing to do. But I don't know. I think you'll be seeing against Arky State a very not vanilla, but it'll just be a very base approach, and you'll see an awful lot of just regular spread option things. All the stuff they normally run, power and whatever. I mean, you'll see a basic thing and return to something where I think at some point, because if I'm not mistaken, not a single, JF3 included, I didn't see a single quarterback pull. I think it was all handoffs. In fact, it was so.
It was all, well, I think a lot of that, especially with JF3, was Clemson's game plan when JF3 came on the field was to not allow him to keep the ball. So they took that element out of the read option with JF3.
And that's why Carry-On started really gashing
them. That's why
up the middle.
Carry-On had so many open holes on those runs, is because they made sure JF3 wasn't going to hurt him. Let's give Carry-On what Carry-On, we'll give him that.
Yeah, I agree. It's I don't know. It's difficult to say with Auburn, but I kind of put it 60-40 because Auburn did miss on a couple of plays, but you have to give most of the blame to the offensive calling staff. I mean, they just did not do a good job. And you mentioned it's going to be a very vanilla game plan next week. Well, this was a very vanilla game plan itself. Well, we were talking earlier about how the wide receivers were running pretty simple routes, but Carry-On Johnson said in the post game that game plan was a lot simpler than several games even last year. So
no, you could tell it was simple, but I put all the blame on Gus Malzahn. Every bit. That was such a horrible coaching job. You had 8 months to make a game plan, and that's what you came up. That was so bad. That was a fireable offense. How bad of it? I'm not kidding. I have had Gus Malzahn's back from the get-go, and that was so bad of a coaching job, so bad of a game plan. He should be fired. That's how bad it was.
It was bad.
I don't see it as a moral victory. I could if Auburn's offense was there, but the offense was so bad, and Gus Malzahn as a head coach was so pathetic. I mean, pathetic.
Tell us how you really feel.
That he needs to be fired. And I'll talk about it more on the break because we got to go pay some bills. But Auburn should fire Malzahn. What Malzahn is giving Auburn right now is middle school football.
Yeah.
Not even middle school.
Basic.
I've seen middle school coaches come up with better game plans.
I have an uncle who could probably come up with a better game plan.
I was there at the game working with ESPN, and the offense took Auburn's own offense took the fans out of the game. Did you not see that in the second and third quarter?
Yeah, because
the fans quit cheering in the third and fourth quarter.
And they started booing.
And they quit cheering on the defensive side because they were so frustrated with the offense.
Yeah, because they would give the ball right back with 5 3-and-outs for Auburn's offense.
Yeah.
And 12 true drives. Crazy.
That's right. But we got to go pay some bills.
Yeah. Thanks for calling, caller. Make sure we'll talk to you later, East Coast.
East Coast Joe, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, buddy.
Welcome, gentlemen.
All right, everybody. We'll take a break. Quarter 2 of On the Sidelines in just a moment.
Head to Carl Cannon. Their dream team makes it real easy to do business.
This is Tyler Herron at Carl Cannon Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, and GMC. Did you see behind me, I got one of our Z71 Chevrolet Silverados. We have many like it. This is actually a Tuscany truck. It has a lift kit and the aftermarket wheels and tires. We are a Tuscany dealer. Come down and see us in Jasper, Alabama, and Carl Cannon Boulevard off exit 65, or you can give us a call at 205-384-5561.
Other dealers can't? Cannon can.
Carl Cannon, Chevy Buick GMC Cadillac in Jasper.
Every day, students at Bevel State Community College tell their own stories. They tell them through the accomplishments they achieve, the choices they make for career success, and through recommendations they share with friends. With 5 locations serving 7 counties and tuition lower than other colleges, now is the time to start writing your own success story. Your story starts at Bevel State.
Ready to Work Trucks in Summerton is just that. The place to go from anywhere in the country to find good used trucks for any need. Brian and Robert Harlan and their staff will assist you with financing and delivery. Brian is a 3-time National Truck Salesman of the Year and a 5-time Kenworth Walk-Around Champion with 30 years experience. Ready to Work Trucks, more than just a slogan, a business guarantee.
When you buy a truck from Ready to Work Trucks, everything works. All lights, all gauges, all switches, brakes are good. You can go anywhere in the country or on the internet and you can buy you a used truck and it's ready for you to go home and work on it. Or you can come to Ready to Work Trucks where everything on our trucks work and the horn blows, the brakes work, the tires are good, the kingpins are good. Hey, come visit us on Old 78 Highway in Summerton, Alabama, small town, big business. Come see us. We'll see that Ready to Work Trucks is more than our slogan, it's our business guarantee.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to On the Sidelines with Hagan and Hunter. Seth Hagan here, Hunter Price over there. And we are talking pretty much only, Week 1 college football, your teams, how they do. Make sure you hit us up on the phone lines, 888-242-8517 if you want to get on the show live with us.
Tell them how they can win a hover helmet.
Yeah, and make sure you hit up the Facebook page On the Sidelines. Then you just go to my page, Seth Hagan. We both actually posted a post about our hover helmets. Make sure you like and share that page and also like our Facebook page. And that's how you win, baby. You can get one of these awesome little hover helmets right here, all your own. Whichever team you want. We got all 14 SEC teams for you. So make sure you do that and get yourself a hover helmet. We're going to be giving one away every week. So make sure you tune in every Monday night from 7 to 8, because we're actually changing. Of course, right now you're like, what's going on? Or 8 to 9 tonight, but we're going to be moving from 7 to 8 and maybe 7 to 9 here pretty soon. So make sure you make that happen. Make sure you call in and let everybody know that you like the show. So
we're all over the field.
Yeah.
Just like Jalen Hurst was against USC. And talking about that, we got another caller. Phone lines are just staying busy.
Loving that. Loving that. We got Wes on the phone from here in Alabama. Wes, what's going on, man? What'd you think of Alabama's performance?
Guys, how you doing?
Doing good, man. What'd you think about Alabama's performance? It was pretty dominant as usual.
Yeah, we got started a little slow in the first quarter, but once we brought in Jalen Hurts, it seems like he really settled into the offense, and that's when we really started getting rolling there in the second quarter on. But, man.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we've been hearing all in the offseason, Jalen Hurts, and it just seemed like, man, he should be the starter. And for a little bit, it looked like Saban would name him the starter, but then he came back and said, no, we're going to go with Cooper Bateman. We're going to go with Blake Barnett, guys who have been in the program longer. We're going to give them the first shot. Blake Barnett ends up coming in to start the game. Offense stalls. And no real fault of their own. I mean, USC had a good defense, but it was tough.
I didn't get the quarterback carousel there, Seth. I thought we should have gone with Hurts the rest of the game after he came in and proved himself. Saban had said after the game that Barnett was just nervous. He was not getting the play calls right. So that, to me, said that we should have kept Hurts in for the rest of the game. But, I really like the double threat option that he presents for our offense, and I think USC really had a hard time adjusting to that.
Yeah, it would be really incredible if Lane Kiffin was able to do it for a third straight first-year starter.
I think it was Saban's game plan all along to go with Hurts. I thought it was genius by Saban. Tell both quarterbacks that it's Bateman and Barnett. USC is going to game plan for Bateman and Barnett. You come in, you play Barnett for the first quarter. Game plan the whole time was to throw Hurst out there in the second quarter. They had not game planned for him at all, and Hurst has spent all week running a set of plays ready for him in that offense.
Yeah, and he absolutely showed up and played great. 4 touchdowns overall on the day, 2 passing, 2 rushing. It looked a little bit like Sims out there for a little bit, but honestly, even better. I mean, this kid has got an arm, and he will test defenses early and often with that wide receiver core. Possibly one of the best in the nation there for Alabama. Wes, what are you thinking? Interesting thought here. I mean, it was obviously a blowout of USC. What do you think about next week against Western Kentucky? Do you think it's as much of a blowout?
You know, after doing a little research on Western Kentucky, I heard that they finished last season ranked inside the top 25. So I think that they probably sneak up on us and give us a you know, I'm not going to say give us a scare, but I think they definitely make our guys, you know, push it to the limit and come out and play a solid game. You know, it's hard coming off a big opening kickoff classic game like this, and then coming in and playing a lesser known team like Western Kentucky. But I'd say Bama by 3 touchdowns.
I agree. I think Bama goes into the fourth quarter up 14. This Western Kentucky team's no slouch. They're a lot like App State and a very good non-top 5 Power 5 program. They have 13 consecutive victories over Conference USA opponents, which is the second longest streak in league history. Another interesting thing is they have, let's see here, where was it I saw? I'm trying to find it.
Keep on looking. Shout out to Justin Foster and Jim Cavall. Jim Cavall, my man. He actually came on the show a couple weeks ago and has since joined into a new business venture, so I want to congratulate you on that, my man. Good work out there. Also, Andrea Deegan-Marshall, our favorite ops producer there at ESPN. Love you, Andrea.
Why just get off?
And my boy Otis.
Come on, Seth.
Love this guy. Hey, man, I love people who join the show and support.
Western Kentucky brings back the second most experienced offensive line in the country with all 5 returners and 131 starts in the offensive line. They have 2 wide receivers that have 900 yards receiving last year and a 1,000-yard rusher and a sophomore bruiser tailback in DeAndre Furby. So,
they're ready to go.
With what Wes is saying, I think Bama wins by 21, but I think it's a 14-point game going into the fourth quarter probably.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think they're going to come out and play hard.
Who stood out to you in the Alabama USC game?
With the exception of Jalen Hurts?
Yes, with the exception of Jalen Hurts and what everybody's talking about. Who were some people that stood out and who were some people that disappointed?
And say Reuben Foster. You know, he dropped about 10, 15 pounds in the offseason. Really got to know the playbook well. And he just seemed like a new man out there. I mean, he was flying around sideline to sideline, and I mean, you know, I was sitting way up in the end zone, and I could hear some of his hits from up there, just flying around smacking people. So it finally seems like he's starting to become that blue chip recruit that everybody hyped him up to be. So
yeah,
I think I'm going to say Reuben Foster was probably the biggest surprise other than Jalen Hurts in that game.
Yeah, Reuben Foster is a guy that if he doesn't have to think and he can just go and knows the playbook, he's one of the best downhill linebackers that you've got out there. I mean, he is a guy that will just, I mean, he will spear your quarterback. He will knock your running back up out the game. Like, Reuben Foster is a nasty, nasty individual. And I think the whole time it's really just him he's had to, number one, he's been behind a ton of great linebackers, some of which are in the NFL.
That's Alabama's whole team when it comes to they're just
and so
great
now,
players behind great players.
And so now that he can just play and play freely and not have to think so much, he's going to be just another great linebacker from Alabama.
Quick question for you and Wes before we let Wes go and head to another break to pay some bills. Who had more receiving yards? This is going to blow your mind. Juju Smith-Schuster for USC or Calvin Ridley for Alabama?
I'm going to go with Juju since it's going to blow my mind.
Wes, what's your answer?
I'll say Shoo. Ridley was pretty quiet.
Both are wrong. They tied, both for a total of 10 yards apiece.
What?
Oh, wow.
How many Alabama defensive touchdowns were there? There had to be some, right?
Is your question?
Good, nice.
Say what?
I said if you would have thrown Ardarius Stewart in there, that would have been an easier question.
Well, the whole point was everybody was expecting Smith and Ridley to be the ones to show out, and both of them only had 9 receiving yards.
Ridley was quiet.
Alabama only had 1 defensive touchdown. Bo Scarborough was pretty quiet, too. We had 11 carries for 36 yards. The guy that really showed out was Damian Harris, who had 9 carries for 140 yards for a 15.3 average.
Good night. What was his long?
73 yards, but he had 0 touchdowns.
Wow.
That's kind of surprising.
I mean, Jalen Hurts was getting all the touchdowns. That dude was lighting it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Be interested to see what they do when teams are able to game plan for him now. But I think Alabama's got a great quarterback as a true freshman.
Cool.
That's for sure.
All right, well, Wes, man, appreciate you calling, man.
Thank you, buddy. Call us back
Guys,
again.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Talking to y'all.
All right. Okay, everybody. That was Wes on the phone line talking about Alabama football. If you want to call, just check that number on your screen. It's that one right there, 888-242-8517 to get in here live with us talking Week 1 college football. It's going to be awesome. You can also win one of these beautiful hover helmets. Just make sure you go to the Facebook page on the sidelines and give us a like. Share some posts and whatnot.
Who's eligible right now?
Right now, it looks like we got Bill Dibble is down with it. Everybody's liking the video. Love that y'all are liking the video, but like that post. I'm telling you, like that post. Make sure you get in on this helmet. Just a couple of people, so your odds are really good if you get in right now. So let's just, we're going to go into break here in like a minute. So let's just, Alabama, to me, with that showing, I mean, I didn't want to be as confident in them going into the season, but now I have to say, I mean, they didn't skip a beat. They're the exact same team with maybe an even more dynamic quarterback.
They didn't skip a beat, but I'm still not changing my prediction on 2 losses for Alabama.
Still think they're going to lose a couple games.
I think everybody in
I think
SEC
one
does.
of their quarterbacks, and this is why Saban's so non-committal on Jalen Hurts, he knows that even though Jalen Hurts is extremely good for just the limited amount of experience that he has, but he's going to get you beat at some point. He's a new guy, and that's how it goes. You think Georgia's going to go undefeated with Jacob Eason? Think again. It's not going to happen like that. So that is what it is. All right, everybody, stick around. More on the sidelines in just a moment. 30 minutes to go. Make sure you get those calls in at 888-242-8517.
Head to Carl Cannon. Their dream team makes it real easy to do business.
Here at Carl Cannon Chevrolet, we offer a wide variety of vehicles. Trucks is one of our main things that we have here. We offer them that can be dinghy-towed, flat-towed, and we also have vehicles that can tow between 3,500 pounds all the way to 17,500 pounds. So if you need a vehicle that can just take you to church on Sundays or pull the load on Mondays, we've got them all right here for you at Carl Cannon. Been here for 50 years. Come see us in Jasper.
Other dealers can't, Cannon can.
Carl Cannon, Chevy Buick GMC Cadillac in Jasper.
Leo and Susie's famous Green Top Barbecue has been serving up the South's best barbecue for more than 50 years. Made famous for their hickory smoked barbecue sandwiches and big, tasty cheeseburgers, Green Top is sure to satisfy your hunger. Enjoy your meal while watching a game or call in for carryout. They also provide catering for any size party or occasion. For fast, friendly service and good old-fashioned barbecue, Green Top is simply the best.
From Mobile to Florence, from Auburn to Tuscaloosa, for all your commercial or private paving needs is Alabama's premier surfacing company. 20 years experience has the equipment and personnel to handle any job anywhere in the state of Alabama. Call 205-648-3117.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to On the Sidelines. Seth Hagen here, Hunter Price with me, and we're going through just the rest of Week 1 college football. Just one of the, 14, 15 weeks in the books. It just got started, and we're so excited. Ole Miss right now blowing out Florida State 21-3. But I remember another SEC team that had a 21-3 lead against Florida State. So you better keep your foot on the gas there, Ole Miss. Stick with it. But really good right there. Let's start looking at a lot of the games. But before we do, make sure y'all check out that number, bottom of the screen, 888-242-8517. That gets you live here in the studio with us and just talk about week 1, your team, how they do, and, you know, ask us any question. We're ready.
Ask us
ready.
Ask us what we think about Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
Get him out.
Yeah, because that's
get him out. He's gone.
That's an iffy subject right now with Auburn football fans. It was not pretty on the plane Saturday night. We'll just put it like that. It was,
defense played great, but
it was iffy.
Let me tell you right now, if Sean White stays on the field, Auburn wins the football game. And I'm telling you that right now.
Offense never got in rhythm. You're right.
Sean White stays on the field, Auburn wins the game by 1, maybe 2 touchdowns. They shut Clemson down on offense. Deshaun Watson going into the fourth quarter was 13 of 26 for 166 yards and an interception.
Wow, that's amazing to hold.
Yeah,
that's why, and to be honest, y'all, it's not that just that the offense was bad. It's because the defense was so good and did such a great job to give Auburn's offense a chance to even be close enough to win the game. And just drive after drive after drive, no answer. Even when the defense were giving them short fields, they went into the red zone twice, 3 times actually, and did not score. 2 turnovers. It's just stuff that cannot happen. It's very frustrating. And if you're a D1 football coach, if you got that much time to prepare offensively, you got to come with something better than that, especially better than six Wildcat quarterback runs by your fullback.
No, Gus Malzahn.
That's just ugly.
Gus Malzahn deserves to be fired. Straight up, he should not be the coach at Auburn. He should have been fired yesterday. After that performance, he should have been fired because that was so pathetic of a coaching job. For 8 months to game plan, to come up with something worse than a middle school, high school coach can game plan for on offense is an absolute joke.
Now, here's the thing, though.
If you compare,
you're not always game planning for 8 months because you still don't have your quarterback for real. Nobody locked it down until the last week.
No, it's obvious who Auburn's quarterback is, and it's Sean White, and that's who it needs to be. And Auburn will win and be a 10 or 11 win football team with Sean White at quarterback.
I wish he had separated himself earlier on in the contest.
I think he has.
He clearly didn't.
He has separated himself. Gus Malzahn can't get off JJ. I don't know if Jeremy Johnson saw Gus kill somebody or just knows something that just doesn't need to get out there. But he needs to let go of JJ and just leave Sean because Sean White won the team over. Sean White is the leader. Sean White is tough. Sean White is the most accurate quarterback in the SEC.
By far.
Hands down, the most accurate quarterback.
At Auburn.
No. He is the most accurate quarterback in the SEC.
Better than Chad Kelly?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Shaq Kelly's a gunslinger.
She is a gunslinger.
The gunslinger doesn't mean you're accurate.
That's the guy. That's the guy I want.
Gunslinger means you're gutsy.
Well, he's doing it, but he also
Gus
gets
Malzahn
to come out
needs to
every
be
single
fired.
play.
Straight up, needs to be fired.
You don't think you're overreacting just a little bit with that?
No. You want me to compare this to you? This is
Go ahead.
This is like the manager at a retail store leaving the door unlocked overnight and someone coming in and taking all the clothes. You think they're going to fire her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But they're also not paying.
Worse?
They're also not paying her $4 million a year and have a massive buyout in the contract.
Which makes it even worse for Malzahn that he's getting $4 million a year and he came up with that game plan.
It's embarrassing.
It's an absolute joke.
It's a joke. Yeah.
You have the best guard combination in the country, and you don't run the ball at the middle once. You don't use Cameron Petway. You use Chandler Clark's in some weird little direct snap where he just spins around in a circle.
Yeah, he did a little pirouette.
And I get it.
That's not gonna fool anyone.
I get
no
it.
one.
I get it if you're making a fake, but he's not even faking the ball off. He's just spinning in a circle where he can't even see where the hole is when he comes back around, and then just running straight.
Yes, he's off balance. When you do a little spin like that, I mean, he's leaning forward into his guys. He's not centered. He's not bending his knees or anything.
None of the plays are pushed down the field. Everything is lateral and then do something with your feet. There is no pushing the ball down the field. Gus Malzahn in 2013, what did Auburn do? They made defenses react and change to what the defense was doing to what their offense was. Right. Gus Malzahn now is sitting back, looking at the defense, and then reacting to what the defense does, and that's the exact opposite. You got to make that defense react to what you do. You got to make that defense change to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he's doing the exact opposite, and he's not even giving Clemson or other defenses a chance to react to him. He's not dictating tempo. He's not dictating what's happening. He's letting defense dictate what's happening.
You noticed how much better Auburn's offense was when it was in a hurry in the fourth quarter, when they had to go.
With Gus
when they had to go.
Who was the quarterback?
When Shaun White was the quarterback.
Shaun White was the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, the offense, I think, didn't even get 40 yards in the first half.
36 total yards.
Shaun White got 80% of his snaps in the second half. What happens? You go for 240 in the second half. It ain't hard to tell. And after my thing was, if you're going to tell everybody all season how fast you're going to go and the tempo that you're going to go at, and we're going to get back to fast football, well, you can't go do fast football when your quarterback is playing 2 plays and then getting substituted for another guy. That is basic mathematics. Like, you're not going to be able to go fast if you're bringing a guy in every couple plays. There's no rhythm that can be had there. So Auburn's going to have to lean on their defense for now, but, I mean, I'm telling you what, Gus Malzahn's job is in trouble if he can't get this figured out after the first month of the season. Because it's going to be, how low scoring is this Auburn-LSU game going to be? I don't think they're even going to combine for 30 points.
It's going to be a 3-2.
Oh, my gosh. It really is. It really is. It's going to be super low scoring.
Let me tell you what you do, and I told you this, and it sounds so crazy, but I'm telling you, it's what needs to be done to save this season.
Give me the crazy.
It's so crazy. And it's so crazy because I wanted this guy gone so much, and I've backed Gus Malzahn for so long. But this is exactly what you do, and this is a 10 or 11 win team, if not more, if they do this now. If they fire Malzahn today, you fire Malzahn today, you fire Rhett Lashley today. You know what you do? You go up to Cincinnati and you go get Tommy Tuberville.
Here we go.
You go get – I'm not kidding. It sounds so crazy, but I'm not kidding. It just
what is Tommy going to do for the offense, though?
It makes too much sense.
Who is Tommy going to bring in on offense?
Tucker Tuberville.
Okay, so we got another young former quarterback who didn't quite make it to the top level.
He didn't.
The offense.
He didn't try to make it to the top level. He turned down scholarships to walk on at Auburn to learn the system and to be a coach.
Rhett Lashley should turn down his entire job to be a graduate assistant again.
Rhett Lashley needs to go work as a greeter at Walmart.
He's awful, man.
You bring in Tucker Tuberville to run the OC. He knows everybody on the team. He knows the offense inside and out, and he knows what his dad wants in an offense. So he can
play conservatively,
to run the football downhill, and to play action deep.
I still cannot get over this, folks. Cameron Petway, we heard about all summer, all spring, all fall. 240 pounds of muscle straight from Prattville. The guy doesn't carry the ball once. Not once. And we're talking about this is an Auburn attack predicated on power. We have a 245-pound fullback leading the way, and it did not happen once. We'll say that Auburn's tackle play was pretty awful, but let's go through the top 25 games really quick, because Oklahoma-Houston gave us an incredible game. Houston upsetting the number 3 team in the land, and if we're looking at if we're looking at this,
who called that upset?
You nailed it.
I nailed it.
You nailed it. And I will say this: if Ole Miss continues to pull this upset against Florida State, 3 teams in the top 5 will be gone. You're talking about who's in. It's more like who's out of this year's playoffs before it even begins. Now, we all know that there's tons of time left. South Carolina beat North Carolina in the first game of last season, and then their 2 seasons proceeded to go in opposite directions. North Carolina almost winning the ACC championship, and South Carolina falling very far to pretty much the lowest part of the SEC. It doesn't look like they'll get back there, though, because they did beat Vanderbilt in that very first week, and they were not supposed to at all. But let's take a look at the top 25 games. Let's take a look at, like I said, Houston, Oklahoma, incredible game. Houston just came out, played so well, shutting down those 2 running backs from Oklahoma. It was really close in the first half, but after Houston took that kick 6 back, it was over. Mentally, I think Oklahoma was done. Baker Mayfield, a great game, 323 through the air, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But at the end of the day, they did not get touchdowns. And check this out. For all that running game, Joe Mixon and Samaje P. Ryan, only 12 carries combined. Combined, folks. This is regarded as one of the best running back tandems in the entire country. You've got to play tough physical football against Houston, who's not supposed to be able to match up with you along the line.
Yeah.
What do you think about Houston? I mean, they don't have anybody until Louisville on their schedule. Is it a foregone conclusion that they're in the playoffs?
No, it's not a foregone conclusion by any means.
That's what I'm saying, because we all thought that Memphis was going to do great after they beat Ole Miss, and then they blew up, and Houston did the same thing last year.
Houston is I do have Houston in the 4-team playoff. But
as of now.
Navy, very scary game. Memphis, very scary game.
Yeah, Navy, I tell you what, no joke.
Cincinnati, very scary game. And then on top of that, you have to go to Louisville.
Oh, boy. They looked incredible, did they not?
With the quarterback who had 9 touchdowns in the first half? Or was 7?
They running 2 quarterbacks out there. They had Bonifant and Lamar Miller.
LaMarcus Jackson set the school record for, I think it was either 7 or 9 touchdowns in the first half.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, they were going back and forth. That's now let's just get this out there. Charlotte is a defensively inept team completely. Gave up 73 to Middle Tennessee State last year. So I knew that Louisville would do their thing, and we all know that Bobby Petrino knows how to run a dead-gum offense. Sure would like to see what he could do if he went back to Auburn with that. But LSU, Wisconsin, a complete debacle. Another top 5 debacle. Wisconsin came in underrated, unranked, but were coached by LSU's defensive coordinator last year, Dave Aranda. So he had them prepared, and LSU didn't do much to really change things up. I mean, they basically played into their hands.
They did. I don't get LSU.
Me neither.
The talent
I don't get Cam Cameron. He gets like all this hype. He's not good.
The talent you have at wide receiver, there's got to be I just don't think Brandon Harris is that bad. You're just not using Brandon Harris the way he needs to be used.
Yes.
You're making him a drop-back quarterback, and he's not a drop-back quarterback.
Only 3 receivers caught balls
and
against
Leonard
Wisconsin.
Fournette, why you're 3 minutes to go in the game, you have the ball and you stop running it, and you've got the running game going in the second half?
Yeah, well, he did that little somersault, and apparently his ankle got clipped. So he took him out of the game there for a little bit.
That's why God gives you 2 ankles.
It's also why God gave LSU Darius Geis. I mean, you've got to go right back after him. But Brandon Harris, I mean, that last interception was about as ugly as it gets, right? I mean, he had a man right on the corner. All he had to do was turn and go out of bounds, and he basically throws it right to the Wisconsin defensive back. It was disgusting. So now LSU, I mean, that seat is red hot on Les Miles, and we're right back where we started.
Right back where we started.
Or where we ended, rather, with last season. It just, just the same old stuff, different day, man.
Who gets Tom Herman first, LSU or Auburn?
If I were LSU, I'd be calling right now.
If I'm Auburn, I'd fire Gus Malzahn yesterday.
Because unlike Les Miles, Auburn signed Gus Malzahn to an extension, so that buyout's going to be even worse. It just depends, really, on what team is willing to just fork over the cash and make it happen. So we'll see what happens. Ohio State started out throwing a pick 6 to Bowling Green, proceed to outscore them 77-3. 77-3, folks, the rest of the game. Just offense, but Ohio State's not going to go anywhere. And I mean, to me, it's solidly between them and Michigan for the title this year. I don't think anybody else is in.
We got to go pay some bills again.
Yeah, let's do that.
Real quick, Jonathan Allen on Facebook, past 2 seasons, too many Auburn losses that can be pinned on a few dumb play choices. Gus has got to make better decisions in those handful of moments he gets in those seasons. Gus has got to
put it better.
He's made too many dumb decisions, and he made an entire offensive philosophy of dumb decisions yesterday against Clemson. It was an absolute joke, and it's time for the dude to hit the road.
Happy trails, Gus. Maybe.
We'll go pay some bills.
All right. Come back.
Head to Carl Cannon. Their dream team makes it real easy to do business.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Carl Cannon Buick Cadillac GMC Chevrolet. My name is Joshua Salter, and would love to take this opportunity to show you the new 2016 Cadillac SRX. We've got some great promotions going on right now. Would love to help you get into a new car today. If you have any questions, please give us a call at 384-5561 or on my cell at 205-300-8364. Stop out and see us.
Other dealers can't, Cannon can.
Carl Cannon, Chevy Buick GMC Cadillac in Jasper.
Every day, students at Bevel State Community College tell their own stories. They tell them through the accomplishments they achieve, the choices they make for career success, and through recommendations they share with friends. With 5 locations serving 7 counties and tuition lower than 4-year colleges, now is the time to start writing your own success story. Your story starts at Bevel State.
Ready to Work Trucks in Summerton is just that. The place to go from anywhere in the country to find good used trucks for any need. Brian and Robert Harlan and their staff will assist you with financing and delivery. Brian is a 3-time National Truck Salesman of the Year and a 5-time Kenworth Walk-Around Champion with 30 years experience. Ready to Work Trucks, more than just a slogan, a business guarantee.
When you buy a truck from Ready to Work Trucks, everything works. All lights, all gauges, all switches, brakes are good. You can go anywhere in the country or on the internet and you can buy you a used truck and it's ready for you to go home and work on it. Or you can come to Ready to Work Trucks, where everything on our trucks work. And the horn blows, the brakes work, the tires are good, the kingpins are good. Hey, come visit us on Old 78 Highway in Summerton, Alabama, small town, big business. Come see us. We'll see that Ready to Work Trucks is more than our slogan, it's our business guarantee.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the final quarter of On the Sidelines. Trying to put week 1 in the books, and no one's doing it better right now than Ole Miss, up 28-6 with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. They are piling it on Florida State right now.
No.
And I mean, if this goes down, we're talking about 3 of the top 5 teams in the country going down in the very first weekend. Forget about how the SEC lost more than half of its games. The entire top 5 and top 10 is in a shambles. It's paper mache right now. So it's crazy.
It's week 1.
Can't wait to see next week's rankings. Can't wait.
No one knows really what's going on. That's why I think a top 25 poll is just absolutely stupid. A preseason top 25 poll is it's just so stupid.
It's so stupid.
It is. It's stupid. I'm sorry.
Hey, nobody agrees with you more, man. I mean, it looks foolish at this point. The top 25 looks absolutely foolish.
Next week in the SEC, Saturday at 2:30 Central Time, you got Nichols versus Georgia.
Oh, that's a smashing. That's a smashing.
You taking Georgia?
Absolutely.
I'm taking Georgia.
Oh my gosh! You
kidding? At 3 o'clock Central Time Saturday, you have Texas A&M versus Prairie View.
Oh, that's another smashing.
I think another smashing?
You see, it's crazy because we had such a great week 1. Well, we're going right back to the old week 1 format for week 2. Everybody's playing pansies.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the names wrong. Saturday, Nichols versus Georgia is at 11 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Imagine that's SEC Network.
Yep.
And then Prairie View at Texas A&M is a 11 o'clock kickoff on Saturday as well.
Both SEC networks, so one of them is going to have to be on that alternate channel.
No, one will probably be ESPN2 or ESPNU.
You think so?
Yes. Then at 2:30 Central Time,
you have a lot of ACC games.
2:30 Central Time, you have Western Kentucky at Alabama. Western Kentucky.
Yeah, of course, Western Kentucky all the way.
All right. Saturday at 2:30. Here's an interesting game that I think might surprise some folk. I missed my pick.
You missed your pick?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. That's the worst when the computer makes your pick. That's why I have Drew Brees. All right.
They gave me Mark Ingram. I just got LaShawn McCoy.
Wow. Man.
So now I got Todd Gurley, LaShawn McCoy, and Mark Ingram. I need another receiver.
I have Gurley and Ingram too.
I need another
receiver.
receiver.
That's crazy.
Oh, well.
We have like 3 of the same guys. How does this possible?
I think this game, even though they lost to a non-Power 5 team this week, this game's scary. Saturday, 2:30, Kentucky at Florida.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Florida played awful against UMass. It was bad. Even though they were one of the few SEC teams that were able to actually pull out a double-digit deficit, a double-digit win. It didn't look very good, but the game is in Florida. I do expect them to win by more than 2 touchdowns.
I'm taking
Kentucky was awful. And their defense is garbage.
I'm taking Kentucky.
Obviously.
Kentucky in the upset.
Really?
Yep.
Yeesh.
Yep.
You give them an inch, you take a mile, everybody. All right. Ole Miss.
I picked Houston to win. I picked Texas to win. I picked Clemson to win, I picked Auburn to win, and they should have.
Right.
I only got one upset pick wrong last week.
It's pretty good.
Dude,
it's pretty good.
I'm feeling it, and I'm taking Kentucky over Florida.
Will you take Middle Tennessee over Vanderbilt?
No.
Vanderbilt not even laying a touchdown in that game.
Vanderbilt wins that game.
They're gonna have to find their own guts on that one. That was
Wofford
pretty awful against South Carolina.
Wofford at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Going away.
Of course.
South Carolina, Mississippi State. Who wins the bottom of the bottom dwellers? I kind of feel like it's South Carolina. I think they might go in there a second week in the SEC on the road and win that game.
Mississippi State.
You think they're fired up after losing to Southern Alabama? They better be. That quarterback situation is ugly.
I'm taking Mississippi State. Arkansas, TCU, who you got?
If Arkansas had blown out La Tech, sure. But no, this game's at TCU, and Arkansas didn't look good. We all know that they take like 6 games to get started anyway. I'm taking TCU.
Taking TCU, I'm taking Arkansas.
Of course you are. All right, Jacksonville State. I am taking the Gamecocks.
You took that from me.
You can't get all the upsets. I have to call one. You can still add it. There's no rule book to this stuff. You can have it if you want to.
That was my upset pick of the week.
Jacksonville State going to LSU under the lights.
Joel McCandless is going to come down to Baton Rouge, lay the hammer on Fournette.
He is.
Brock Thomas is going to do his thing, and the best team in Division I FCS football. FCS Division I AA.
Gets Les Miles fired.
Gets Les Miles fired as
he
Jacksonville
would be gone.
State. Jacksonville State comes
so quickly
in and
he would be gone.
upsets LSU 28-24 under the lights in Death Valley.
Oh boy, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Jacksonville State so close last year, almost took Auburn down. Missouri, Eastern Michigan. Missouri had a really awful day. Same old offense, same old garbage offense against West Virginia, who has been a pariah. When's the last time West Virginia held anyone to under 20 points? I'll wait. Under 15? I'll wait. It has been a hot minute. So, I don't know. Missouri's favored by 25.5. I would take Eastern Michigan on that, but maybe Eastern Michigan is that bad. They are a directional Michigan school after all. Even though, did you see West Michigan take down Northwestern? How cool was that? The spirit of the underdog was alive in week 1, folks. It was awesome. All right, Virginia Tech, Tennessee.
You never asked me who I'm
Both
taking.
teams played pretty underwhelming. Tennessee had to take the cake on that one, though. But Virginia Tech, they were down 13-10 to Liberty, and Liberty, unlike Appalachian State, is not to be respected whatsoever.
You never asked me who I was taking.
I think Tennessee's going to score. Oh, I'm sorry. Missouri or Eastern Michigan?
Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. You're just all over it. All right. He's got to hit one of them.
I got Jacksonville State beating LSU. I've got Eastern Michigan beating Missouri. I've got Arkansas beating TCU. Mississippi State beating South Carolina. We've got Vanderbilt winning, Ole Miss winning, Kentucky beating Florida. Boom! Lights go out.
So does Virginia Tech beat Tennessee to just go ahead and round this one out for you?
No, Tennessee puts a hurting on Virginia Tech.
You think so?
Yes.
They're going to beat them down?
Yes.
That's tough. But Ohio State did it last year. And I have to go with that. Tennessee laying 11 versus Virginia Tech. That's surprising right there. I'm not sure I would take Tennessee in that one, but I do believe that they will win. They have to win because
you know where that
I
game's
predicted
at?
they go 11-1 this year.
You know where that game's at?
Yeah, the Bristol Speedway, right?
Bristol Speedway.
160,000 people are going to show up to watch a horrible football game. It's going to be garbage, straight garbage. Oh, I can't wait. All right, so let's take a look at the top 25 next week. Going to be some decent games, I suppose. But let's take a look. Louisville plays Syracuse. Nickel State. Michigan versus UCF. Houston versus Lamar. Garbage. Clemson, Troy. Clemson. Florida State, Charleston Southern. That's going to be a beatdown.
Is it?
Yes.
You realize, Charleston? No, slow down.
Dalvin Cook's going to run for 300 yards, man.
Slow down.
I'm telling you.
Slow down. Florida State wins, but Florida State wins a tight one against Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern is one of the best teams in Division I AAFCS.
They are good. They almost beat Vanderbilt a couple of years ago.
They just took North Dakota State into double overtime in the first game of the season. In North Dakota State, in Fargo, North Dakota.
That's interesting.
What's his name? Florida's head coach. Jimbo Fisher has already talked about how upset he is that they have to play such a good football team on a Thursday night after playing. No, is it Thursday or Friday night after playing on a Monday night against Ole Miss?
Wow. Okay, that does set up a weird little scenario.
Short week. You play Ole Miss on a Monday, and you have a short week, and you got to play a very, very good FCS team. Probably
and they may be looking ahead because who does Florida State play week 3?
Clemson.
Louisville. They play Louisville week 3. Looking ahead to Louisville, could see some fireworks. Could see some interesting stuff there. But I mean, they can't afford to look past anybody right now because they are down 28-6 at the half against Ole Miss. Or pardon me, Florida State does have the ball and they are driving. They are on the Mississippi State 16. So a touchdown here would be huge for Florida State because another field goal, I don't know if they can climb back into this one. I mean, that would be very tough if you get 3 drives that close and all of them end up being field goals while Ole Miss scores a touchdown every single time down on you. That'll be tough. But I actually lied to you guys. Sorry about this. There are 0 good matchups. There isn't actually a top 25 matchup in the entire week. So
that's what you get when you want to have a week 1 like you have.
You're right.
You're gonna have a week 2.
Everybody's gonna have to.
But I mean, there's still
take
some
a break.
good. There's still some good matchups. You still have
Auburn, Arkansas State will probably be a pretty good game.
I think Auburn puts a beat down on them. But it's interesting. Can we not send Gus Malzahn on the bus back to Arkansas State where he came from?
Some people would be with you on that.
Let's just go and get it done. But there's still good games. You got Arkansas, TCU. You have Kentucky, Florida. Yeah. There's decent games. Virginia Tech, Tennessee. There's decent games out there this week.
They're decent games, and I'm sure there will be some games that we're thinking won't be good at all, like we thought last week, and they end up being barn burners. So we'll see. Another minute left in the show. I'd like to do a little something I like to call the practice squad,
all right,
where I put people on the bench. I am going to put the entire SEC on the bench, and except for Alabama and Auburn and Georgia and Texas A&M. And who else? Who else do I want to put on the bench? I want to put Nick Saban on the bench for hiring Steve Sarkisian. What are you doing, man? The guy's a raging alcoholic. Not a good idea. Hunter, who's on the bench for you?
Gus Malzahn.
Gus Malzahn. Big surprise there.
Plain simple. Is there anybody else to put on the bench?
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. I mean, it's bad. Well, I mean, there's plenty that you could pick. Trust me. Trust me. I mean, put Oklahoma on the bench. Absolutely, for just no showing there in the second half. Let's see. I'm going to go with Hawaii for getting beat down for a second week in a row, giving up 50 points for a second week in a row.
That's Hawaii.
And, of course, I'm going to reserve an extra, just a spot all its own for Les Miles and Cam Cameron. You guys still haven't figured this thing out, and it's going to get you fired. Period. All right.
It's going to get them fired. Gus, get on the bus and get out of town.
Yeesh.
This season
is not shaping up how we thought.
No.
The SEC is.
People don't realize how important this season is to the future of Auburn football. Are we going to fight back from what we were, or are we just going to stay mediocre? Because if it's mediocre again this year, guess what? It's probably going to be mediocre the next year. And it's probably going to be mediocre.
And it gets into the players' heads.
This season is too important for the future of Auburn football to let Gus Malzahn continue the reins of this football team.
You're right.
Take him away, put somebody else in charge. Finish out the season, it's an 11-win team.
All right.
But too bad, you know what? Because you know what Gus Malzahn did?
They can't hear us anymore.
Use the game, don't let the game use you.
Later, everybody. Yeah, I wanted to close this out. But it's all right. All right, everybody. No, that's cool, man. It's cool. All right, everybody. Make sure you like that, the On the Sidelines Facebook page, and find that post with us looking at the hover helmets oh so deliciously. Make sure you do that because that'll get you a chance to win one of these helmets. You can get any team that you want to in the SEC right now. So make sure you do that. And we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same, not the same time. Going to be starting at 7 o'clock next week. We'll still be statewide. Make sure you hit the phone lines as well. And we'll be the show replays every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8 a.m. So you can check that out at AlabamaCableNetwork.com. Ole Miss up 28-6 at the half. Who knew? All right, week 1 in the books, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's cool, but maybe next time, yeah, just so we can, yeah, just so I can get us out of there, and we don't have to.
Until we get.
We don't have to act like it's a mistake or something.
And next week, unless we have our intro video ready, I'm just going to send you a highlight mixtape of the week and just play a little bit of it to start the show off, and then just play. You're going to send me an opening? Okay. Well, we have an intro that's supposed to be getting made, but what we're going to do, if it's not ready next week, what we're going to do